Hello, and welcome back to Curlington Stories. And if you're new here, welcome to you too. Today we're going to be talking about two Am I the Asshole stories, and a third story as well. It's not exactly the same category, but something I know you will all find very interesting. In fact, it's likely the title of this video. And as per usual, let's go over the titles of each story, continuing with the wedding theme from the previous day. Am I the asshole for secretly selling alcohol at my dry wedding to cover costs? Now, this is something I've heard of many times before. It's actually come up in these Am I the Asshole threads many times. All different stories, of course, but always kind of the same thing of people paying for alcohol and stuff like we did at my wedding and then charging people for it. And we paid for a bartender, we bought all the alcohol. We didn't charge anybody for it, but some people do. They pretend that it's not an open bar, which means you got to pay for your drinks, and then they pocket the money. They usually do this with the accomplice of a friend who is being the bartender there, and it is a little sleazy little thing that people do. And this story is a little bit different. It's a little less slimy than that, trust me. Significantly less slimy than that, but we'll get to it shortly. Story 2. Am I the asshole for moving away and making my friend homeless and then ignoring her calls for help? I'm gonna tell you right now, I feel like this story is missing a lot of important details, I feel, but regardless, it is still something very interesting to talk about. Then finally, breaking up because partner sometimes eats eggs. Now this is obviously a vegan story. One person in the relationship is vegan, the other one is vegan but occasionally eats eggs, and the fully vegan partner here is not having it. And these people have been together for allegedly 7 years and are engaged, and this guy is ready to leave his partner because she occasionally munches on some chicken eggs. I mean, clearly she's just eating what her body needs. But before I go off on that tangent, I'm gonna save it for when we get to it. All right, let's go to the first story. Am I the asshole for secretly selling alcohol at my dry wedding to cover costs? The title's a little bit misleading because it's not exactly why they did it. It is a part of it, but the bigger reason is actually significantly more interesting and actually makes for probably one of the most interesting short little Reddit stories about weddings that I've seen so far. So I, 27F, recently got married. Congratulations. My husband, 29M, and I planned a pretty big wedding, about 300 guests. It was beautiful, honestly a dream. There's just one thing, our families are super conservative and very religious. So we told everyone it would be a dry wedding, aka no alcohol. That decision kept the peace with our parents and extended family. I have to chime in here real quick, I'm sorry. But again, you know, your values and stuff like that, you know, sometimes you gotta compromise a little bit, and I don't mean in the way that they did. For me, I don't consume alcohol, don't like alcohol. My wife doesn't really drink alcohol. I'm, not a big fan of it. But even at my wedding, we supplied alcohol because we knew that the vast majority of guests would want it. Now, in this case, this is your wedding, and just because your family is conservative or whatever doesn't mean you can't have your wedding how you want to. You're paying for everything. It's your wedding. So that shouldn't really influence whether or not you're serving alcohol or not. That should be completely your choice along with your husband. But obviously, for some reason, she felt the need to cave despite these choices being theirs. That's just something I wanted to add before we continue. As we all know, weddings are expensive. Tell me about it. And we were footing most of the bill ourselves. Saw an opportunity and took it. I hired a licensed bartender friend of mine to set up a VIP bar hidden at the venue. It was a large event hall with a garden and private side rooms. I gave a heads up to about 75 of our younger friends and more chill cousins, and basically had them pay for drinks. Wedding speakeasy. The drinks were priced reasonably, like $5 a beer, $8 for cocktails, and people were happy to pay because 1, open bar weddings are rare in our circle, and 2, they thought it was kind of fun. Long story short, between the money from drinks and tips, we made about $2,000, which helped cover part of the catering bill. The issue is, word got out. A few of my aunts overheard someone talking about the secret bar, and now my mom is livid. She says I lied to everyone, disrespected the family, made a mockery of our values. Obviously, original posters' values aren't yours. I mean, considering they're a 27-year-old autonomous adult, they should be able to pick and choose and decide what values are important to them, regardless of whether or not they're important to you, but that's just my 2 cents. My mother-in-law also called me manipulative and selfish. But honestly, most of our guests didn't even know it happened. And the ones who did loved it. We didn't force anyone to drink. We just gave the option, discreetly. My husband is kind of in the middle. He gets why I did it, but which is I had told him beforehand. I didn't because I knew he'd get stressed and say no out of guilt. So, am I the asshole for secretly selling alcohol at my dry wedding to offset the costs? I did not keep the bartender's tips. We paid him well, he kept all his tips. Well, honestly, you know, I felt one way about this, but it's a both sides of the coin. You know, like I think ultimately kind of an asshole to some degree. As I was stating at the beginning, like first off, you should be able to do whatever the fudge you want at your wedding. If you want to serve alcohol, you should be able to. Fuck what your family thinks. It's not their wedding. I don't give a shit if, you know, their values say this, their values say that. It doesn't matter. It's your choice. So, you know, that's a little bit of a weak mindset, in my opinion, to think you have to do it behind people's backs. Because, I mean, come on. Did you really think that they wouldn't find out eventually? You don't think that one of your cousins might accidentally mention it, which is precisely what has happened here? That was really foolish and dumb. Now, as far as the actual action of doing it itself, again, it's your wedding. If you want to have a secret hidden bar where people pay for their drinks to offset costs, I mean, whatever, go for it. I don't think you're necessarily an asshole for that. However, when it comes to not telling your husband because, oh, he'll get upset about it and be like, nope, not doing it, you know, that's a problem, because how are you getting married to somebody and you're already keeping secrets from them like this, hiding things at an event that involves both of you? That is a red flag, an extreme red flag. Like, imagine what the relationship is going to be like going forward if you're doing stuff like this so casually at such a major event between the two of you, where everything should be decided between the two of you. Now, I get it. You want it to be a crowd pleaser. You wanted your cousins and the younger people to be happy to have their alcohol. The truth is, I understand that, which is why, again, we provided it. But at the same time, it's a wedding. They're there to celebrate you. And I think people can go one night without drinks and stuff, you know? Now, the dance floor might be a little bit dead, but you can go ahead and blame your conservative-ass family for having a dead dance floor. Because the truth is, a lot of people won't get up and dance unless they've had a few, you know? Some people have a hard time getting over that social anxiety to get on the dance floor. Now, as somebody who never drinks and doesn't like getting up on the dance floor, I do it simply for my wife, you know? Whenever we've been to many weddings together, and at most of them, I've found myself on the dance floor feeling awkward as hell, but doing it anyway, with no alcohol in my system. And if people could be a little bit braver and just do that, then it's not an issue. But the truth is, it's not really usually what's going to happen. So ultimately, yeah, kind of an assholey thing to do, but mostly because you went behind your husband's back, and y'all should have just been brave and should have just stood up for what you guys cared about. This is your wedding at the end of the day, but it's over now, so it is what it is. And honestly, if your family wanted to cry, bitch, and moan about what you did at your wedding, fuck them. Like, that's how I feel. Like, they can suck it, cry about it. Like, it's their values are not yours. You're your own autonomous individual. You know, if half your family was vegan and you are you gonna serve secret meat somewhere, have a secret meat kitchen somewhere, you know, because, oh, you don't want to stir up the vegan pot with, you know, your vegan family or whatever. No, fuck that. Do what you want. It's your wedding. You get to choose. You're not a child living under their roof anymore. You're a full adult living your own adult life. And that's a lesson for all, in my opinion. But, you know, maybe that's just me, because I have no issue stirring up the pot a bit, you know, and standing up for what I believe in, what I care about. I know some people might be like, well, wait, but you don't believe in, you know, alcohol and stuff or whatever, and you serve it at your wedding. And I could see why some people might interpret that as a contradiction, but let me explain briefly. What I believed in was making sure other people had a good time. And I didn't have to compromise any sort of values in order to give people a good time. I didn't have to drink the alcohol. And I don't have an issue with providing it for other people. Like, I actually used to be a wedding DJ, fun fact. Yeah, I used to DJ weddings, and sometimes they would give me like a bottle of champagne or wine or something like that, you know, at the end of the night, along with like a tip. And I don't drink alcohol, so I would just go and give that to somebody else. I'm pretty sure once somebody even gave me weed, and I don't smoke either, so I'm pretty sure I just went and gave that to one of my friends. Like, okay, I legitimately, I'm like 97% sure that happened. So no, it's not a contradiction. It's not me compromising in any way, shape, or form. It's actually me doing what I want to do and providing other people a good time. Now, I've talked about this story enough already. Let's move on. Am I the asshole for moving away and making my friend homeless and then ignoring her calls for help? I, 31F, have this friend, 33F, who has been living with me these past 3 years. He wasn't on the lease, nor did she pay rent, but she did give me money occasionally and would buy stuff for the apartment. In the beginning, she would help with cleaning, like doing dishes sometimes. She did have a habit of collecting useless junk, used bike tires, for example, that would start piling up in my dining room, and she would get upset if I threw something away or moved it. We got in a few arguments over it, her reasons being that these items was all she had and that I wouldn't understand because I grew up privileged. Of course, I didn't see what the big deal was throwing away these items. Still don't, to be honest. Yeah, no, this whole privilege thing that she's using towards her friend is a stupid excuse. I grew up dirt goddamn poor, and that didn't mean that I couldn't get opportunities and do things for myself. Like, yeah, sometimes if you aren't a privileged individual, you gotta work a little bit harder. I mean, put this in perspective, me, my mom, 3 siblings, and my nephew in a 2-bedroom apartment, kind of poor. That's what I'm talking about here. Half the time I was surviving off ramen noodles and Hot Pockets, and if it wasn't that, I was probably not eating at all. And then I was still running track and breaking school records, and I still went to college and got a physics degree and got a darn good job afterwards. Like, you're over 30 something years old and you're using this privilege excuse. Oh, I'm not privileged like you wouldn't understand. Like, no, you need to grow the fuck up and take responsibility for your own life. Anyway, moving on. Anyway, after a while, I began to feel a lot of resentment toward her and felt she had started taking me for granted. I ended up moving. I told her I planned on moving 2 months prior, but she didn't seem to take me seriously. Or maybe she assumed I was taking her with me? I don't know, but I moved. And because of that, she is now homeless. She's been calling me daily saying she doesn't feel good and that she doesn't know what to do, and now she just sits in front of 7-Eleven doing nothing. I stopped answering her calls. I feel bad, but I just don't want her living with me anymore. It's like she's completely dependent on others to come rescue her, and it's exhausting. Why do I feel like such a bad person? Should I help her, or is she just trying to manipulate me? Edit. Just wanted to add more info about my friend as it may influence the overall opinion for her. She grew up in a foster care and aged out at 18. She's had the same caseworker who has helped her with housing in the past. She sees her caseworker about once every few months. You still see is that normal to still see a caseworker like once you're 33? Like, that's 15 years after you become an adult. I mean, I don't know anything about the foster care system, so don't fucking fillet me with, pitchforks and stuff for saying that. I just don't know, but is that normal? Also, she has a high school diploma and was a licensed massage therapist, but said she couldn't renew her license due to financial reasons and sort of just fell off and hasn't been back up since. This was in 2015, 10 years ago. No, I'm gonna say not the asshole. Your friend sounds like somebody who doesn't want to take responsibility for their own life, and that is a sad thing. And of course, there could be some underlying issues that makes them behave this way, but that doesn't mean it's your problem, your responsibility. You're not her caretaker. You're not somebody who's supposed to hold her hand through life. She's 33 years old. You got to grow up eventually, right? And take responsibility for your own life. I think this person leaving this situation was the correct thing. You got to go out and live your own life. You can't have somebody holding you back. You only get one life as far as we're concerned. You don't want to waste it being held back by somebody who won't grow up enough to do something with their own. Pretty unfortunate. It's pretty sad, but that's just not your place to continue babying this person. And if anything, this is probably the best thing you could have done for them, because if not, what were they just gonna continue living off of you and never do anything for themselves for the rest of their lives? I mean, they were a licensed massage therapist, and I guess they can't renew their license for financial reasons. Well, if they get a part-time gig or whatever and actually work a little bit, then they probably can renew their license. But what, they just don't want to do that? That's not your problem. Now, we didn't read any comments really for the previous one because I really yapped a lot for that one, so I felt like it was like inappropriate, but felt like it was unnecessary. So in this case, we will read a couple comments. Not the asshole. You didn't make your friend homeless. For whatever reasons, your friend has issues that maybe make it hard for her to do stuff, but you basically supported her for 3 years. She could have done something, anything, in that time to work towards self-sufficiency. Yeah, it sucks for her, but it's not your fault. This is another good comment here, the response. Friend had a wonderful chance to save up and put her life on track. Friend did not make use of it. Friend needs to get her act together. Original poster is more generous than most. Original poster's job is done. Enabling friend further won't help her. Now this comment kind of, it summarizes them, saying, it probably gets chalked up to some sort of mental illness sort of thing, in which case, they might need some resources and all of that. And while that is true, again, that's still not the other friend's responsibility. Now, there's no telling whether or not, during these 3 years, if they tried to push for that or not, but most people would probably find that rude. I mean, if one of your homies was like, hey, you need to go see a therapist, you're not right, like, you'd probably be offended, and they probably avoided that conversation, which again, it doesn't fall on them as responsibility. but obviously it does seem like they need some professional assistance. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this story in the comments below. We'll be moving on. Breaking up because partner sometimes eats eggs. Now you guys already know. You already know I'm gonna have a lot to say about this one, so make sure you have something delicious to snack on, something to keep you hydrated, because we're gonna be talking for a minute. About 9 months ago, my partner and I saw Dominion and decided to live vegan. Well, more or less. I'm now an ethical vegan, but my partner likes to make exceptions and sometimes eats vegetarian. So far, I tolerate it because I didn't want to make a big thing out of it. After all, we are relatively new to veganism. But with time, it started bothering me more because I know that she knows that what she is doing is wrong. Don't worry, guys. We will get through this story quickly. I'm gonna save my thoughts for the end, I promise. Today, while grocery shopping, she sneaked a package of eggs into the shopping cart. I told her put them back, which led to a fight. She said that she knows that she's doing a wrong thing, but just wants to eat eggs. She's not ready yet to become vegan. I asked her what she needs to become ready, and she replied that she will never be ready. After some more discussing, she handed me the engagement ring I gave her last year and asked me to rethink if I still wanted to spend my life with her. Since I wasn't vegan when I asked her to marry me, she's not sure if I could live with a non-vegan person, and to be honest, I'm not sure as well. My friends and family are all non-vegans, although a lot of them are making an effort and at least eating vegetarian or mostly plant-based. I feel like I should respect that, since doing something is better than nothing. If everyone reduces, the animals are still suffering, which can't be the point. I feel like if I leave her because of this, after 7 years of relationship, no one would understand why I did it. The reason, of course, is because we have different values. But that begs the question, why I don't have the same problem with them. I worry that if I leave her, I will be all alone, and part of me still thinks that she might still eventually become vegan. I've never posted something so personal anywhere, but it just feels helpless. I need some advice from people that hopefully understand my struggle. First off, this person sounds extremely immature. Extremely immature, and not because of the value sacrificing thing. That's not why. It's the, well, I don't know if I should leave this person because I don't want to be alone. See, I don't know if other people understand why I left. Those aren't things you should really be concerned about. That's not exactly the point of you leaving the relationship, is, you know, how other people are going to think, or whether or not you're alone. That's not exactly a reason to even stay in a relationship. So what the hell is going on there? But more on that later. I do want to say something. This isn't an am I the asshole, but if it were, I would say this person is not an asshole, actually, which might surprise some of you. But the truth is, somebody's morals and their values are their morals and values, and if their partner doesn't fit them to the degree that you want, then it's completely your right, your choice to leave that relationship and go seek what you want. Now, obviously, I think this person's a little crazy, a little cuckoo bananas, because, I mean, you've been vegan for 9 months and you've already become this belligerent about it, where like you're demonizing your fiance because she wants to eat eggs occasionally. Brother, it's been 9 months. That's it. Like, do you have any idea how long it takes for some people to fully become vegan, if that is in fact what they want to do? And not to mention that, but saying it's wrong, believing it's wrong, it's whatever, like that's your opinion, your belief. I severely disagree that eating eggs is quote unquote wrong, but stating it as fact more so than your opinion is kind of embarrassing. To look at your partner and be like, wow, she's so morally corrupted because she eats eggs occasionally, is once again a very immature thing. Now, it seems like this is a moral superiority vegan. That's the vibe I'm getting from this person. Vegan for 9 months, gone most of their life eating meat, and now they've become this person that can't understand that somebody else wants to eat eggs. Seriously? I'm assuming you've been watching too much Vegan Teacher or Tosh Peterson, and that's really, really messed with your judgment. Praying that your partner will eventually become vegan is also sad. The truth is, there are some vegans that have no issue with their partners not being vegan. I feel like they're rare, because a lot of the vegans I've met in real life also have vegan partners or no partners at all. And I feel like it's a leap to say that this person doesn't share your values when they obviously do. Them eating eggs occasionally doesn't mean that they don't care about animal suffering. That is just such an immature leap. Somebody else in the comments had pointed this out. The way that he spoke to her about the eggs, telling her to put them back when she has her own dietary autonomy, she can choose to eat whatever the hell she wants, and to tell them, hey, put that back, you can't eat that, that's controlling. This person has a lot of growing up to do. They sound like a child. They genuinely sound like a child. When I read this, I'm like, is this person 14? Like, there's no way this person is engaged to somebody. You sound like a 14-year-old. Now, the fiance, the girl here, seems significantly more mature. I mean, considering that they gave the engagement ring back and said, I want you to think about whether or not you want to be with me, that shows a level of maturity that this original poster does not have. Recognizing that they don't want to have this belligerent relationship, this toxic relationship, because this person who's been vegan for 9 months can't accept that you eat eggs. Like, that is a power move. That is a wonderful move from this person. That is a 100,000 IQ play, but it does make you wonder something. Is it possible that maybe this person didn't want to be in this relationship anymore, actually, and they saw this as a way out, as an opportunity, without, you know, coming off as an asshole, without, you know, by basically making the vegan person here seem like the one making the choice? I know that sounds very manipulative and it might be a leap. I might be reading, you know, between the lines here, but it just seems like a possibility, because, I mean, what's one great way to make it so a vegan doesn't want to be with you? Stop being vegan. That's a pretty good fucking way to do it. And an easy way to do that, you eat eggs. Eat something simple that's gonna piss them off and make them decide, you know what, this isn't gonna work. You know, maybe that was the plan all along. I mean, given the engagement ring and say, think about it, like, this could have been a manipulative play right from the beginning, you know? Like, they don't want to budge. A lot of times people are very, like, willing to budge for the vegan person, willing to compromise, willing to give things up so that the relationship works. And it seems like that is not what is happening here at all. But again, original poster could be leaving a lot of details out. You never know the full story when you get these Reddit stories. You always have to take things with a grain of salt. But gosh, I've never been happier to not be a part of the vegan circle. It seems very lonely, sad, and not fun, because a lot of them are like this, where they feel like they can't be close with somebody who's not vegan. They judge all their friends around them. I mean, even say like, oh, all my friends are non-vegan, but at least there's something, the most of them are plant-based or vegetarian, or, you know, like, why do you care? Why do you fucking care what your friends eat? Like, that is just so crazy to me. Care on such a deep level. It's no different than people that are like staunch religionists, right? Where, you know, if somebody's not Christian around them, like, they have an issue with that. They're like, oh, well, you know, you need to believe in God, you know, you need to accept Jesus Christ, and they get upset, you know, they're bothered because you don't believe the same things they do. This is no different. That is a lack of maturity. A mature person is not going to be affected by whether or not their friends do whatever, whether it's against their own moral values or not. I, for one, I don't eat beef. I don't tend to eat pork. I don't tend to eat lamb. I don't tend to eat pretty much any, like, mammals, for my own ethical and personal reasons. When it comes to the ethics, I just don't like the concept of eating mammals. But my family and friends do it all the time around me, and sometimes I do too occasionally. Once in a great while, I might get steak tacos because I was sick of chicken tacos that day. But whether or not these types of vegans will ever change is a mystery. I mean, I know some of them, a lot of them actually just become ex-vegans, which is something that I talk about on my OmniKing channel. A lot of ex-vegan stuff. A lot of, because seriously, they come out like this, these like belligerent vegans. A lot of them just become ex-vegans once the health problems start kicking in, and then they start kicking themselves like, wow, I was such an asshole. And it's pretty hilarious to watch. And just as a reminder that not all vegans are like what I just described, this person actually is a vegan and responded in a way similar to what I've been saying. This middle comment here. I honestly think you should leave her because you seem intolerable, honestly. I think newer vegans are usually the most radical and not able to sustain that in the long run. Always the loudest in the room, and then the next year they make a YouTube video about why they had to stop being vegan and make us look crazy. I think it's hypocritical of you to be a new vegan and expect so much from a partner that you met prior to veganism. You even say you see the other family not making the full switch but adapting a little, and you praise them, but not her. I find it strange, to be honest. Sure, go find a vegan love if you want, but this can't be your only reason for leaving. If it is, you're wild, and I guess you're sparing her from more of your wins. And then they have another comment below. And honestly, anyone can frame a post on Reddit as a victim or hero of a situation. But if you read between the lines, you can see how strict and forceful the person is. Like no leeway with a partner of 7 years. They could have blown up at her at the grocery store and could be super controlling. I can see the other perspective. Nah, seriously, there are some lines to read between here. I think this relationship is significantly more toxic than this person lets on, and I'm standing by that. You know, I really do think that the fiance here probably wants out, probably because the vegan person here is a controlling asshole.